All right, man. I got things to talk about today. You ready?
We're talking about Twitter, right? Did
Well,
you did you get the Doge thing? Did you get the Doge logo on yours?
I don't really get on Twitter enough to like see. I heard about it.
Yeah, I have it on mine. I was like, I didn't even know what was going on. I looked at it. I was like, what? This guy is like,
Yeah,
God, I don't understand how he's a
so funny.
multi-billionaire.
He was
But
keeping
yeah,
his campaign promise of I'm gonna put the
he
dog.
actually has one of those dogs, a Shiba Inu. I guess
Okay,
he
I didn't
owns
know that.
one. So that's a big part of
Oh,
the guy is just, he's got too much money. He just
dude,
doesn't even know what to do with himself anymore.
it's funny. So, have you heard about the Twitter algorithm thing?
No, I
Okay,
don't think I have.
I'm gonna read this to you because this is pretty
Okay.
cool. It's also funny to me that there are news places that are coming out, and it's like Twitter's, first step to transparency isn't really being transparent. Like they're
Oh
like
God,
making
dude,
this negative.
whatever.
Okay, so shout out to Nikki Saunders from Nikki Moose Podcast. That's how I saw this first. It says Twitter's finally revealed their algorithm. Here's what you need to know. This is interesting, I think. So for getting your boost recommended in like the For You feed or whatever it's called. So
Okay.
likes are the most important thing, then retweets, then replies. So each like gets you a 30x boost, retweets get you a 20x boost, and a comment only gets you a 1x boost. Well, I guess a
I thought that
1x
it would
isn't
have
a
been retweets.
boost, so I'm guessing it would be a double.
That's
I would have
crazy.
thought it would have been retweets too, right?
Yeah, that seems like the thing that would do the most, but I guess not.
Well, I guess retweet is going to get you the most potential to push because it goes to other people, but
Yeah,
the retweet itself isn't going to cause the algorithm to push you. It's just going to get shown to more people.
right.
So I thought that was very interesting. So that's
Yeah,
number one.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
All right. Anything that gets categorized as misinformation is basically dead in the water, and Twitter will do whatever it can to suppress it. Also, misspellings like grammatical errors and made up words negatively impact your post.
No way. I see people
Yeah.
misspell stuff all the time.
Well, here's what you got to remember is that like this is about the algorithm recommending your content.
Right.
And
Yeah.
part of that is like if you're a big name and people are retweeting your stuff, it's gonna go out, right? And there's gonna
Right.
be this organic virality, but we're talking about algorithmic virality. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, and it's also, it's yeah. Oh, it's interesting.
I'm just
like that.
I'm
Like the
just
grammar
looking at
thing is surprising. Twitter clusters you into a group of similar profiles. It uses that to show your tweets to followers who may be interested in your content. Posting outside of the cluster you've been assigned to will negatively impact your reach. That's why niching down is so important and so effective on Twitter. So that's really interesting because that's not, I mean, every platform categorizes you, but that's like not always the case with everything. I know you've seen that and talked about that with blogging, but
Sure. Yeah.
apparently super important. If you pay for Twitter Blue, your reach is automatically extended. Now, I don't know if that
course.
means that they're giving you more reach or if it's just like when they say extended, does that mean like longer term, like the lifespan of your tweet is longer? I'm not sure. And then this is just a sidebar she put in here. Expect this to be the norm on other sites rolling out verification because it's the only way to combat against the AI spam bots, which makes sense. And like I just got hit up for Instagram or Meta verification today, and I'm like, I'm not on enough. Here's the thing, man.
Yeah.
I don't create enough to care about verification in that sense. But like, I think Twitter Blue is worth it because of the other features. Like, I like the fact that I can put things into folders and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think I keep every time I log into Twitter because I don't tweet. I just log in and I look at a couple things. But every time I do now, they're like, your blue check mark's about to go away. And I'm like, oh man, they're gonna force me to pay for this.
there's some people that are like the one that I heard is like William Shatner is like really mad that he's losing his blue check mark.
These people that are mad though, it's like, why are you mad? Like
they're
nobody owed you
mad
the blue check
because
mark.
They're mad because they were exclusive.
Yeah.
Oh, I had this, and all you LOL pores, you can't have it.
Yeah,
that's
right. That's a good point.
I mean, like I think that's what it is.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's see the verified account thing keeps changing. So my verified account check at first, like Elon changed it to this account is verified this is a legacy verified account. It may or may not be notable. Like he put that as a little like sting to like journalists, I guess, to like basically say like they may not actually be notable.
Well, the people that were paying to game the system to get in, there was a lot of these like handshake deals, like, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Now it says this account is verified because it's subscribed to Twitter Blue or is a legacy verified account. But I'm pretty sure, God, that Doge thing is up in the corner. I'm pretty sure it's going to go away though. I don't think everybody saw it.
Mine's Twitter.
Yeah, I don't think everybody got it. I think it was just some people for some reason. Maybe he's just trolling the people that had a blue check or something. Who knows? But it's going to go away at some point. I got to decide. But I don't know if I need to buy there's the gold one that's for like a company or the blue one for a person. I guess I should buy the blue one for a person. But like my company name is, I don't know. I have a weird business name.
Yeah, I'm not sure. All right. Well, here's an interesting one. Here's the last one.
Okay.
Images and videos help your reach a lot. Images and videos both automatically double your reach. That surprised me.
That's interesting
for Twitter.
That surprises me too. I think it's great though, man. I actually
I
mean, I've posted some videos to Twitter. Just, like we do our podcast stuff and clip it up and post it in different places. Like the formatting isn't normal. Like it's not the same thing you would get on just a short. But if they do that, I think Twitter could be a great video platform. Like I don't see why it wouldn't be. It's a feed just like anything else. I do think part of what makes Twitter really good is kind of like the snarky. That's the thing about Twitter, man. I have such a hard time. There's so many people that just sit there and post such like witty, funny, interesting things. Like Chris is a good example of this. I don't know he kind of like shit posts a lot, but like it's funny. And I don't have that in me. Like I've tried it a couple of times and every time I do it, I'm like, God, this is just dumb. Like, I don't know what I'm saying here.
You do though. Like I
feel like I do.
I think I think the difference is that you don't put the time in. I think you think that somebody pulls their thing out and they write this thing in 3 minutes. And I think the reality is that these guys are spending an hour a day to create their 3 to 5 tweets, and they're putting a lot of time into it. And I think so. To me, I know how you are with emails. Like I think that if you took the time that you would take to do a Facebook post or an email, but you made it into tweet form, I think you would freaking slay.
Maybe I've always imagined it as these people, because you're right. This is how I always do it. I pull out and I'm like, oh, I'm going to say something funny. And then I'll tweet something. And then it's like, I look at it later and I'm like, that was stupid. Why didn't I even say that? And I imagine that I've thought that that's what the people that are good at it do. They just pull something out and they just put their brain on there for display. Man, and it's like, oh, this is awesome. And so I've just been like, man, I'm just dumb compared to these people. I can't.
Well, like I'm going through I'm going through this course in like my spare time, like in the evenings right now. That's like it's from a content creator that's mainly known for Twitter, but also on YouTube and other places. And it's about writing. And I actually took it just because, like, not because I want to write, I'm not going to start writing.
Right. Yeah.
But it was more about like having a better content system and like figuring out what you're going to talk about and all this. And so like he's actually talking about like his process of like writing the content and the tweets, and like they're putting a lot of thought in, like a lot of thought into it. So at least he is, but I know like who he is and who the other people in his like sphere of influence are and like what the culture is in that crowd. And dang, we're about to get like 2 days straight of rain. I don't know if you heard that thunder. That was like,
yeah, I can hear it. Yeah. We've had a lot of rain here too, but yeah, okay. So that makes me feel a little better. Cause every time I get on Twitter, I'm like, God, I don't know what to say here. I know I can be funny sometimes, but I don't know what to do with this platform. And I honestly don't even really know what to do with the platform. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, can you drive? I don't know. I know you can do a lot with it.
Dude, you can drive a lot of traffic with it, but it takes, I guess it's like anything. Like you can drive a lot of traffic with TikTok right now. You can drive a lot of traffic with Twitter, but you have to sit, to me, like, I don't know, like video is so easy to me. Like writing, like you got to sit down and you got to do it and you got to make threads and you got to have these posts and like, I just don't, it's such a slower process for me to write than it is to do video. So like, I think Twitter to me, it's like, this is the platform I feel like I would enjoy the most. I think back, I'm like, man, if I go back to like when I was first starting out and I had all the time in the world and I had no kids and I was just doing stuff, like I would have like really gotten into Twitter. That would have been the space I would have gone into. It just
Yeah.
doesn't. Maybe I'll go through this program and then I'll make the time for it and I'll figure it out, because it'll be like, oh, this is easy. But like, I'm sitting here, it's like you got to sit there. You got to have your niche. You got to know exactly who you're talking about. You got to be strategic about how you get categorized. Right. And,
Yeah.
I just don't know that I have the time or the patience for that right now.
The only kind of content that I like making is this kind of content. And actually, like, I really want to do an interview style podcast. Like, I'd love to do what Joe Rogan does. Like, just sit down with people that are way smarter than me.
But I want to do it in person.
Talk. Yeah. It's different on Zoom. And so it's like, that would be so cool. But it's like, man, to think of the logistics of doing that. And, I'm going
to throw some public pressure here on the show. Right. I'm saying, if you all moved out here, we could have an office.
I know.
And there's so many people in our world that are in Austin.
I know.
We would actually be able to start it in person, just pulling from Austin, until we were at a point where we could bring other people in. We could have a badass set. We could have some like plushy chairs.
Yeah, that's
have
true.
like a freaking fern or whatever, like whatever we need. We could get it going, and
that would be fun. It would be fun. No, I think, yeah, you're right. That is the way to do it. Cause I just don't know. Are there any like Zoom based, or not Zoom based, but like video based podcasts that you feel like do really, really well? Like a Joe Rogan, or the comedians, man. The comedians have this stuff so figured out. The Theo Vons and
because they get that
and
the in-person thing makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So my first million is like the biggest one I know that's not in person.
Okay. Who does that one?
That's the guys, the dude that owned The Hustle, and then this guy Sean. I can't remember what he does.
Okay.
But like theirs is pretty big. I feel like, but I don't know, but I do. I love that. I go back to, I do a lot of sports radio and stuff like that. And so TexAgs, it's like the A&M sports forum. It's not affiliated with the school, but it's like the biggest collegiate sports forum, period. And they've got like an ESPN style studio. They do 3 hours a day of radio and stuff. And one of their owners, his title is like executive editor. He's one of the owners, Billy. I love the stuff he does, man, because he comes in and he basically does a half-hour spot on Monday and Friday on the show. And then they'll do like a rapid reaction thing. Like they have all these things that are basically Zoom.
That's cool.
And sometimes he's in the studio, sometimes he's not, but it'll be things like, if there's a recruiting commit, they do this thing called in-home visit, which is like when the coach is going home, and it's like, him and the two recruiting guys, they hop on Zoom and they spend 10 minutes and they talk about that thing. He does like an Ask Lucci thing where like he posts in the forum, everybody does questions. He goes on and talks for like 30 to 50 minutes, just answering questions in video format. I freaking love that. He's got he has a podcast one that he does where, that it's so he's got like these different shows that are all under the brand. But the way he does it, all of them is like, there's somebody there, right? Somebody's reading him the questions, somebody's interviewing him. And like, to me, that's ideal. Like, I feel like I can moderate the thing, but like, I want to sit down in the seat and just go. I know that's how you
me too. Yeah. I feel that way. I'm so bad at doing like just videos, like just like the couple times I've done a YouTube video, I just stop so often, and I stop like a ridiculous amount. Cause it's like, I'll say something and I have to think about it. And I'll say something. I can't just go, but I can do it. I can do it in this format, of course, because it's just a normal conversation. But
I think that's pretty normal though, with like
I'm sure
video content. Like you got to outline a little bit. A lot of people script. I can't script. So I just got to go. I want to cover points A, B, C, and D. And then I just have to go. Dude, I saw one I saw this morning, and I'm like, I haven't really looked into it, but it's this guy, he's a doctor, and he's got like 215,000 people on his YouTube show. And I saw like the little clip of it, and the way he did it was, he was like talking, he's like, hey, here's what we're talking about today, blah, 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 blah. And then this, like, it transitioned, and there was like him in a bubble and this lady on his team in a bubble, and then like this like colored background with the topic, and she asked him a question, like, so it went to the bubbles, she asked the question, and then it zoomed out to him, and then he started talking, and then it went back to the bubbles, and she asked the next question. I was like, oh, that's a really interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
Like,
That is
I feel like YouTube would be a lot easier if it were like, if I had somebody that was like moderating me through it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too. I think that'd be cool. I don't know. I just going back to, I guess we should go back to Twitter. Why is he putting all the stuff open source? What is the point? Like, is this so that people, I'm not a person that understands developers at all. Like, I have a lot of them that work for me. And every time I talk to them, I don't really know, I don't understand how their brains work generally, but like, is it so that people can make suggestions on your code to improve it? And it's just like a community sourced kind of like, we can all make this better kind of thing.
I thought when it was open source, like that allowed people to make like add-ons and apps and stuff. Like, I don't know enough about that. So are you asking about like, why is he making the code open?
Yeah. Why is he doing this?
Because so people can review it. Cause like, I think it's just a trust thing. I think it's all public goodwill.
Let me Google this. Why is it probably is that.
Because to me, I think there's a lot. I mean, there's definitely people that don't like him, but I think that there's so much distrust right now. And Twitter has like his big thing he's been talking about is like free speech. And, like to me, that's the interesting thing about Twitter compared to other social media.
It's a trust thing. You're right.
Yeah. So is that what they said?
He said, even if you don't agree with something, you'll know why it's there and that you're not being secretly manipulated. The analog we aspire the analog we aspire to is a great example of Linux as an open source operating system. See, this is what I don't know what the hell that is. One can, in theory, discover many exploits for Linux. What happens is the community identifies and fixes those exploits. So it actually kind of sounds like a little bit of both, where he's saying it's a trust thing and the community can look at this stuff and fix what's wrong with the code.
Well, so the people that aren't being paid and are just passionate about it, like they're going to be some of the most creative people. So
yeah.
And they've gone from didn't they go from 8,000 employees down to 1,500, under 1,500 or something. So maybe that helps with that.
Yeah.
Too. I think it's trusting.
Yeah, I think that's smart though, because nobody trusted Twitter. So if you're going to come in
and it's the only social media platform that is like a marketplace of ideas. It's the water cooler. It's like the modern day water cooler. And it's not like that. That's not what TikTok is. That's not what Instagram is. That's not what YouTube is. Like, that's not what those things are.
Yeah.
YouTube is education. TikTok is entertainment, and Instagram's, ooh, look at me.
Yeah. I can't say that he's doing a bad job. Everybody is so funny, man. It's like when he bought that, everybody's just like, oh, this is going to go. It's just crazy how many people worked at that company.
He just hired a CEO too. Did you see that?
Oh, he did. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. But how, God, man, you're talking about like a bloated company. All these companies, it gets so huge. It's just such a weird thing. It's like you can fire so many people and then the thing still works well.
Well, one of the ladies that got fired, that was kind of like a kind of kick-started all this, was like, she was doing these day in the life videos. And it's like, I showed up to work, I'm getting my latte. Oh, I'm playing ping pong in the office. What a great life. Sitting out here on the patio. Yeah. And it was like, awesome. You had a whole day of doing nothing.
I remember she had one meeting. She's like, go to my meeting today and then I'm done. It's like, wow. She can pay a high salary too.
Yeah.
All that overhead. It's so crazy. But I guess that's just how these tech companies roll. Just get bloated to hell. But
but it makes sense. Yeah. Well, I think the impressive thing to me is that I'm not as big of a user, so I haven't noticed a huge difference. But my understanding is there's been very little hiccups or issues. So you take all these people out and it's still running smoothly. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I wish this would have been a good playbook for Facebook to do, a couple of years ago. When Facebook, before the Meta thing, I actually think was really smart because a lot of the heat came off of Facebook and now it's, they just kind of did a little magic trick and they were like, oh, it's Meta now. But that would have been smart for them to just be like, we're just going to show you exactly what's going on behind the curtain. And here's our source code and here's what's going on. Maybe they didn't want anybody to see that though. You never know.
I think Elon's in a very interesting position there doing that. Right.
Yeah.
I don't think that Zuckerberg could do that. I don't think that these other companies, it's easy for us to come in and say oh, hey, this isn't me. Check it out. Let's look at all the things, and then we're going to change it. Because even this, like, we look at this algorithm, they just released it. Guys, that might not be the algorithm 6 months from now. Like, they're going to keep making changes, and they're going to prioritize different things. It's interesting right now. It's useful information, but I don't think that you can do that. I don't think you can. I mean, think about everything that we've like learned from the Twitter files. You've learned things about other platforms, including Facebook, from the Twitter files. So
the FBI stuff's crazy.
Yeah. So if that stuff's going on, then like he can't do that and keep his company, and the government won't want him to. It's all crazy.
That's a good point.
Dude, why is it that every single thing in social media right now leads to politics? It's driving me crazy. I just want to like do business and grow audiences and like not do it.
I think oh man. Yeah, I don't know. Like leads to politics is in like politicians trying to manipulate it, or
no. I just like, it's hard to have these conversations right now about what is happening in this internet marketing landscape without like, this was like not a political zone. And this year it has been. Doesn't matter if you're talking about AI, you're talking about TikTok, even like this. I felt like this was a pretty safe conversation. And then like it leads to it because there is a lot of stuff going on around Twitter with it. And it's just,
I think it's because it has so much power. I mean, you think about it, like, I don't know, like how many years ago was it just people just got their news from the TV, cable stations. And I think there's just so much like ability. Internet has so much ability to impact massive populations to do things. Like I think everybody in government's like trying to figure out how they can kind of like control it to do their will,
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I feel like, man, even like probably email marketing's affected by it. And some, but I feel like maybe a little bit less so. But I just a little more siloed. But
I felt like it's like this is a safe conversation. We don't have to talk politics, and then it starts to like go that way. And I'm like, I don't want to, just for some context, like for people that are listening, like I don't like talking about that stuff. Just it's important, but to me, it's just people argue. I like want to help bring people together, not be divisive. And I came out of law school, and when I came out, I was like, I'm done with the news. Like, I'm not watching the news. Like, if it's important, I'll hear about it. Someone will tell me about it. I'll hear it from my wife. It'll bleed its way into other interests and those kind of things. But I'm like, I don't need to ride the daily up and down roller coaster of that. Like, I just need to focus on my family and my business and like taking care of us. So in certain ways I've like put blinders on, and I just feel like it's encroaching into my space. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting more interested again now that I'm older because I think
it's a lot of that. I think it's because I feel like as I get older, I'm more aware of what's happening politically, and I don't want to be. I just am, and I'm a little bit probably more interested in it. Just I don't know, just even from just a distance than I used to be. Like I think if we had done the same topic 6 years ago, like politics has probably always been pretty intertwined with all the social media stuff, but like I don't think I cared at all when I was like,
it's definitely more in the headlines.
Yeah. Now it's just like, I think it's once you realize like, man, everybody's like really like, there's so many different parties, or not even just not political parties. Like there's so many different people that are trying to like manipulate us in so many different ways. Whether it's government entities or politicians or companies, like everybody's trying to get us to do stuff. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. You just got to, that is one of the freeing things about being an online business owner though. It's like, you get your house in order and you take care of yourself and you set yourself up. It's not all about like making money. It's money becomes important because it allows you to kind of not stress over certain things.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Cool. So, you got anything else on this topic?
Not on this one. I know
no, I feel like we came to a natural conclusion there.
Yeah. Yeah. I got another topic for the next time, but
here we go. All right. We're recording more. Well, this is Laptop Empire Show. He's Bobby. I'm Mike. Make sure you subscribe. See you next week. Peace.